going through each of these things that are important for the AI-based applications today is really interesting, just because there's so many kind of pieces that you have to keep in mind. I think two that I wanted to double click into is one around kind of meta prompting, and then bringing the right data in. These are essentially all ways of making the foundation model a little bit more customized to what you're looking for, making sure you're building on top of exactly the foundation that the model sets up. I think when you look at each of these kind of individual items, you think it's not too bad. I just have to prompt it, or I just have to make sure I have the right kind of meta prompt, or I just have to make sure it has access to the right data. But when you kind of combine all of these steps, what becomes difficult is knowing what data do I feed it, right? Do I just kind of throw everything at it and hope that it's going to learn the right context and learn what I need from these documents? Does it need to be specific documents? Let's think about prompting. Just in what we've seen even in the past few months, you can try to write the correct prompt, but it can take a lot of iteration. And then you have to think about, okay, what parts of the model are not doing well now? Let me try and map it back to the prompts that I can use to then improve those exact slices and subsets of data that my model is not, or questions that my model is not performing well on. So even within each of these, I think the error modes that come up can be of a large variety, and the way you address these error modes can be very, very different, right? Sometimes maybe you can just rag it. Sometimes you need better prompting. Sometimes you need more data. Sometimes you need very specific data. It's not just throwing, maybe 10,000 more documents at it. It's throwing the right ones. But how do you find the right ones? Now you have to go through your data, go through this manual process again. And I think that's a really interesting kind of area that we've been looking into a lot, where let's focus on where your model isn't performing well, right? Your very base foundation model, and let's kind of identify and think through what exactly do you need to fix it. It can be maybe you need to train and fine tune your model. Maybe you need to feed it more data. Maybe you need to prompt it differently. Maybe you need to rag it in some cases. Maybe you need a better kind of search space that you're looking over. But even that process can be pretty manual, tedious, a little bit whack-a-mole. This reminds me of when we used to debug models back in the grad school days. Your model isn't doing well and you're like, okay, it can be one of many things. Let me just go through each one at a time. So I think there's this real opportunity, and something that Snorkel is looking at, of guiding people to understand exactly where to spend their time. So it's not so much of a whack-a-mole process anymore. It's more systematic. It's more guided. It's much more efficient because you know exactly what to do to make your model perform up to the standards that you need.